when the creation actually began, in the first Yuga Satyuga, there was no such thing as disease. I wanted to understand this thing very carefully. In the Satyuga, there was no such thing as disease. Why? Because the purity levels of the environment were so high. They were so phenomenally high. The bodies were so pure that the disease could not manifest. See, like they say, Brahmaji, when he created creation, he made everything possible from the beginning to the end. So disease was made before Satyuga. But since there was no pollution, there was no disharmony, disease could not set in. It's a very important point. Disease could not set in because there was no disharmony, there was no pollution. So beings of that yuga did not even need Ayurveda. There was no need for Ayurveda for that time. Then when the yuga changed, Teta yuga came, little bit of pollution came in, it set in, and we know of Ravan. And Ravan is supposed to be one of the foremost exponents of Ayurveda. Because when that little bit of pollution came, diseases started to manifest. But diseases were just peripheral. They could not penetrate the body. Diseases were peripheral. So, certain specific herbs were prescribed at that time, and because of so less of heaviness and so less of toxicity, no disease, so there was no need for the basic principles of cleansing, etc. and healing, which Ayurveda talks about. Then the yuga changed again, and when the Dwapar yuga came, that time the pollutions had reached a phenomenal level. I am saying phenomenal level at that time, nearly 40,000 years back. So Ayurveda then was propagated in a very big way, and most of the discoveries or most of the things which you hear in Ayurveda were discovered or they were propagated at that time. Somewhere between the end of Dwapar and the beginning of Kali Yuga, when Shushruta came into the scene, that time the diseases had manifested to an extent. Because now the toxicity of the Satyuga, Veda, and it's now snowballing into Dwapar, and that is now snowballing into Kali Yuga. So the beings of Kali Yuga now, today have to face such high levels of pollution, they have to face such high levels of toxicity, that the body is not normally functioning the way it is supposed to be functioning. If you look in any household, you will find sickness all the time. Somebody or the other is sick all the time if you look into a normal household. Now interesting thing here is what? Why is there sickness in every household? In spite of so many discoveries in modern science, why is there so much sickness in every household? The reason again comes to the same thing, toxins and toxins. These toxic agents which we are ingesting into the body from morning to night. The toxicity just doesn't come from the food we eat, or the water we drink, or the air we breathe. Toxicity also sets in from what we think. So to detoxify the body, there's a process where even the thoughts have to be stilled. Because even if you are thinking something negative, you have unleashed some form of disease inside your body. It's very interesting because they say diseases are mostly psychosomatic. Somatopsychic are very, very few. Like accidents can come in the category of somatopsychic. But most diseases are psychosomatic. Because what you think, these heavy emotions which you generate inside you, all this is creating toxins in the body and you are falling prey. The symptoms might come later, maybe after 5 years. But then once the symptoms come, then the disease cannot be treated. The body has to be only killed slowly with the various heavy kind of medicines that are going to be injected. Because once symptoms starts to show, that means the manifestation is now very heavy. Because the body fights to a great extent. It doesn't allow the symptoms to come out. So that's why now Ayurveda talks about this, that it is very essential for us in our daily lives. Because we are ingesting so many toxins in the environment, we inhale toxins, we drink toxins, we eat toxins. An interesting study, I'll tell you, Dr. Desai study. What he has done here is, he has done the research and he's come out, and US FDA has also authenticated this study. Now what he has done is, he said that our body in today's date is 82% toxins, all germs. 82%. That means a human being in today's day is 82% of toxicity and germs and nothing more than that. It is shocking to hear this, but this unfortunately is a fact. That is why the present state in the world, why the people's thoughts are so polluted, why everybody is in so much disharmony, why everybody is sick, no matter how much money you have, how much power you have, yet you are so badly sick. Indicating what? That the money and the power or a degree in medicine is not going to rid you of disease. It is something else which will rid you. So the basic purpose or the basic point which I am trying to make at Dhyan Ashram, what we try to make is that the body has to be periodically cleansed, and cleansed in all these 4-5 ways. Not just that you just remove the toxins from the intestines, no, not just that. Or you take a deworming thing, not just that also. The body has to be detoxified, and everything which is heavy and which is negative and which is toxins has to be slowly expelled from the body. So that's why Dhyan Ashram we have just devised a very, very simple technique to do that. It works on basically 5 principles. The first principle here is very simple to understand, which is the skin. The skin, being the biggest organ in the body, is responsible for absorbing the maximum toxins, because the skin is exposed to nearly everything toxic when you move out. You don't know what is in the environment, what's in the atmosphere. So it all gets deposited on the skin when you move out, and slowly the skin starts to absorb all that inside the body. And that absorption straight away goes into the bloodstream. And once it goes into the bloodstream, you have to understand that every 3 minutes, the entire blood of the body goes through the liver. So the liver becomes the most toxic organ in the body. And which is a very dangerous sign, because somewhere where the blood has to go after every 3 minutes, a complete blood. And if so much of toxins is going to be absorbed, like the skin is feet and feet long, you can imagine what the state of the liver would be like. So people who are exposed to this toxicity normally fall sick because of liver diseases. Now, when the skin will absorb, there are certain kind of wraps which are prescribed. Now, here you have to be careful, because the wraps which are prescribed cannot be procured from just anywhere. They have to be having a completely 100% organic source. The water also, which is a major constituent of any flour, from where the essential oils are derived, which are put in these wraps, the water also has to be of an organic quality. But there are no pollutants in the water also. So when that is mixed in the wraps, and that is when that is put on the body, it has the effect of removing all the toxins or the toxicity from the skin. Then second part what we do here is, there are certain kind of herbal ghees. Now the ghee has to be a 1-year-old ghee at least. It has to be a pure Desi Cow Ghee, where the calf has got its share of milk from the mother. You know of the kind of scams that come out in the market, that detergents have been put and chemicals have been put in water and it has been converted into milk, and people are drinking that. So that is a short way. That's why the youth in today's date are losing hair, they're losing the vitality and they glow, and they become impotent because they're ingesting all those chemicals inside. So this specific ghee which is prepared, it's called Trifla ghee. 14 plus 2 herbs go in this. 14 herbs, and one we use a Trifla kashayam in that. And then cow milk is used in that. So this 1-year-old cow ghee is used, and all these herbs, it takes a week to prepare that, and then this ghee is ingested in the body. This has an effect of detoxifying your first stomach and second stomach and third stomach, all three. First stomach, which I call the mouth, second, which is the bladder here, and the third stomach is the intestines. The fourth stomach it doesn't go to, because the fourth stomach is the colon. There is a different technique I'll come to now, which we call Basti in yoga terms. The Basti is what? Basti is a technique to remove the toxins from the colon. The ascending, the transverse and the descending colon, you remove it from there. Now there are basically 4 kinds of stomachs. The first stomach is the mouth, the second stomach is the bladder here, and the third stomach is the small intestine, which is the longest. The fourth stomach being the colon, which is further subdivided into 3 major parts: ascending, descending and transverse. So that it is most difficult to remove the toxicity from there. So this herbal ghee, which is called Trifla ghee also, which is ingested, what it does is that when you put it in the mouth, it immediately removes any layer of toxicity which is there in the mouth. There are certain herbs in this which remove that layer. And then once it goes into the stomach, it again does the same thing. It causes a coating in the stomach area, and slowly it starts to remove what toxins are stuck there in the stomach area. Then there is a wall which is called the cecum here. Through it goes down then into the small intestine. So now it will have the effect till the small intestine also, because in the small intestine you have to be careful that the maximum absorption of the solid food which you eat happen there. Maximum absorption. So the chemicals which you have ingested, they have to be detoxified. So this herbal ghee also has a quality of detoxifying those chemicals which are eaten and which go into the intestine, which is the small intestine. Then from the small intestine, this entire thing, before it travels to the large intestine, you come through a very major organ which I just mentioned, which is the liver. The liver is a duct, it's called the bile duct. Here. Now the toxins which you have normally congest that bile duct. So there is a technique which is we call Basti, again in Ayurveda and yoga both. So this Basti technique is used here, where the 3 colons or the 4th stomach, we flush in a specific kind of a herb. It is not normal water, it is not any chemical. It's a special kind of a herb which is put inside. Now normally people substitute it as a what you call colon hydrotherapy. There are machines that come in the market. They call them colon hydrotherapy. There they try to put in distilled water. But if you ask these doctors, they'll tell you there is no such thing as a distilled water. Because there is a level of contamination even in the waters which are called distilled waters. So when it is pushed in through the colon, if you use distilled water, it's going to create disharmony again. Some form of disease will be left in. So here a specific herb is put which is pushed into the colon, and this herb is specifically programmed to send the impulses to the liver to open the bile duct. So when you will do this with this herb, this specific Basti, then what's going to happen? The bile duct will open like this fast, and when the bile duct will open, it's going to pull out whatever toxicity that is there, and there will be a rush of bile coming from there. So whatever is stuck in that area is going to be removed there. Now finally, when it comes out, then the rectal valve finally opens in a big rush, because there is so much of pressure that is put without you applying any kind of pressure. Then the rectal valve, when it opens, then with that intense rush, because you put in normally 750 milliliters to 1 liter of water. In normal enemas, what they do in the world today, they use approximately 500 milliliters of water, which is a little less. So we increase the quantity of that herb to 750 milliliters to 1 liter. When that intense pressure is put, then gradually the temperature of the water is raised. The first one, second one, third one, we raise the temperature of the water. So when the water reaches a specific temperature in the 4th Basti, then the rectal valve cannot retain. So as soon as it puts it, it immediately comes out. As soon as you put it, within 2-3 minutes, it immediately comes out. So that's a completely cleansing effect on the lowest part of your colon. So now, it's interesting to watch that these 4-5 ways, it completely detoxifies you from inside and from the skin. Then finally, there are certain salts which we get from the United Kingdom. They are called Epsom salts. We don't use normally salts for bath, because baths are essential. If you use normal salts, then they have a high sodium content and it causes high blood pressure immediately. So it has to be a special kind of a salt which does not raise your blood pressure at all. Because for BB patients, it's also okay to do it. It's good actually. So that salt with certain herbs and with certain essential oils are added into the bathtub, and then you again completely detoxify your complete body by having a bath in that. So this detoxification process is divided into these 5 basic parts.